What is up, everybody?
Should I say it?
Don't say it.
Can I say it?
Don't say it.
Let me say it.
Go ahead, say it.
What is up, everybody?
From the Hill, Sunday, March 11th.
We got the date right this time.
I know. I screwed it up last week. I was so excited. I got my dates wrong.
How about
Right
that?
day, wrong date. Today's selection Sunday, Prof.
Yeah, we actually might be in studio when they come out with the teams.
Well, there's a lot of talk going on right now. ESPN has their whole marathon thing going on all day when they talk about the games. But remember, a lot of the conference tournaments are finishing up as we record here. So some of these teams still aren't locked in, and then that depends.
What time's the show?
I think selection's like 7 or 8 tonight.
Oh, I thought they did it at noon.
No, they've got a conference tournaments to finish up still. ACC, a lot going on still. We're
All
gonna
right.
get into all that.
Very well. Exciting day of sports news, sports talk, sports potting, and from the hill,
And of course, from the Hill.
as usual.
So real quick, as always, we'll start with a little bit of housekeeping. We talked about Bridgeport Little League for you guys last week. We talked about us partnering with them. So I wanted to bring this up for everybody at the beginning. So the Little League, as always, is run with volunteers, right? That's how these Little Leagues operate. So on Saturday, March 24th, Bridgeport Little League is asking for volunteers to come up to the park, help clean up the park, help get the fields ready for opening day. So, if you're around or you have time, please come up and volunteer. I'll be up there at the park on Saturday with Scotty Dogs.
What park is this?
Bridgeport Little League. All the way up the hill, buddy.
Oh,
All the way
from
up the hill.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So we'll be up there. We'll be cleaning up. We'll be talking to the folks. But, helping the Little League get ready. We like to give back. And this is a big deal because, again, these Little Leagues are run on volunteers. People have to go up, need people to rake the fields, clean up the fields, get them ready for the season, which is starting soon. Baseball's here, Prof. I know you're excited.
Is it opening day? Are they playing games?
No.
It's just field cleanup.
It's just field cleanup, yeah. Opening week will be the following week, so we'll talk about that too. But yeah, the 24th is an important date to remember.
Cool.
If you guys want to get involved, hit me up, hit Nick up, hit the show up, hit Scotty Dogs up. We'll let you know all about it. You can come up with us and help support the kids. That's what it's all about. It's all about the kids at the end of the day.
Yeah, Ryan Dolga needs to play on clean fields.
Nick's son.
What's up, Rye?
So before we get into the real content, I want to do our weekly Twitter speak, right? So if you want to follow us on Twitter, I'm at JRip18. That's 2 P's. He's at Nick_Buha. So last week we did our first ever Twitter poll, right? We talked about on the show, we were going to throw up the poll about the beer and diapers party. Prof, did you happen to see the results of that poll?
No, I didn't check into it. Did you see him?
I got it. So it was a 50-50 split right down the middle.
With 7 votes?
No, we actually had 10 votes.
Nice.
Yeah, 50-50 split. And the great thing about Twitter polls, which is funny, is that you can't tell if people are being serious, they're trolling you, or both, right? You don't know if people are voting the other way just to troll you.
You can only go by the votes.
That's it. So the people have spoken, and by 50-50, it's not a violation. We're going to have to side. Tie goes to the runner.
Yeah, I came around to the beer and diapers party.
Yeah, it was good. It was a fun time.
It's just a way to get out of the house.
You know what I was going to try and do, but I don't think the person who was holding the party would have been too impressed. Is we were going to try and make a diaper pyramid and then take a picture of the diaper pyramid.
Diaper pyramid, huh?
Yeah. Stack up all the diaper boxes.
How many beers did you consume?
Well, you know me.
Day?
You know me. I'm a modest type of guy. Just a couple cold ones for the boys.
Pops.
A couple pops.
Twitter.
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel.
That's where I'm going.
I put you on there.
Yeah, buddy. So another big thing happened on Twitter with Johnny Manziel. So he entered into the Twitter beef with Michael Rappaport and Barstool, and this got heated quick. I mean,
Is that guy really fired?
that escalated quickly. Oh yeah, he's done. Or you think so? Nick, what Nick's going to allude to here is, so you think maybe they're trolling everybody, and he's not fired, and it's a good point.
I think he is. I think he's still. Why else would they make it public and make such a joke about it all the podcasts that they do?
Right. You think it's just a ploy? It's I don't know. They would catch a lot of flack for that, bro.
Nah, I don't think so. That's what they do. They make stuff up.
True. Well, yeah, their content.
They're funny.
Their content's all over the place. They do whatever they want. But so the part that's really kind of crazy is Johnny and Michael Rappaport start going at it, and Rappaport starts ripping into Manziel about his substance abuse issues in the past, and it was pretty rude. I'm not going to read any of the tweets just because they're a little gruesome. But
wait a second, you said the most gruesome thing on this show ever 2 weeks ago.
I don't ever say anything like that.
No, I did see them. That they're also trolling each other. It's all fake.
They're trolling each other all.
It's all fake. Everything on Twitter's fake.
Hashtag fake news.
Yeah. So everybody I follow on Twitter, they put fake things out. So now I am just in the mode of just everything is fake until I could see it with my own eyes.
Okay. So Nick's falling full into the Twitterverse here about fake newsing and fake. Are you fake tweeting?
Johnny Manziel's on board. Michael Rappaport's on board.
Hashtag Barstool Nation.
Barstool's on board.
The Stoolies are all on board.
Yeah.
I disagree. I
Ratings.
think they're going after him hard. I think they want to kill his career. They put all those shirts out. I mean, would you appreciate if I printed FT8 shirts with your face with a clown nose on it?
I'm pretty sure you have that in the works with all the swag that's been coming out.
With the clown nose on you.
Has anybody inquired about the hats?
Dude, the hats are almost all sold up.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, I've got to order more. I've got to put in a whole new order because everybody's got the hats already pre-ordered. Here they are right here.
Coach T wants a hat.
Coach T wants a hat?
Yeah, get Coach T a hat.
Coach T wants a hat? I'll hook him up. Yeah.
All right.
So, also, some more swag coming in this week. I got magnets coming in. So, yeah, if you want magnets for your fridges, I got everything. If you guys want something from the Hill, just hit me up. I'll take care of you.
Yeah. Let's not focus on the show. We're going to focus on
the swag. That's it.
Well,
look at the cool logo right there in front of you.
Wow.
It's all. So one thing I wanted to bring up, Nick and I talked about a couple weeks ago, and people really like the car talk that we've done there when we talked about manual and we talked about the Ford Broncos.
Really?
Yeah, they were all into it. So one thing that I wanted to bring up to everybody, because I like to do this. So actually this week, I found a Ford Bronco. Right, I saw it, and I had some of my connections. I had to inquire to the owner about the Bronco, and I want to tell you this hogwash. Talking about
wait a second. You inquired about a Bronco, like, seriously?
Oh, 100%.
Like, to seriously buy it?
Absolutely, 100%. That's
so weird.
I'm going to tell you the story.
You already have 3 cars.
Well, yeah, I need another one. So I inquire about this, right? And the guy, this is what he says through the connection that I had the inquiry through. He says, "Oh yeah, well, I really wasn't looking to sell it, but I actually had somebody offer me $8,000 cash for it, and I turned it down. But yeah, if Jack wants to make me an offer for it, tell him go ahead." So this comes back to me, and I'm going, $8,000. I was going to offer you like 3 or 4, and if you turn down 8, which by the way is total malarkey, right? Nobody offered this guy $8,000 for his freaking Bronco.
It's Jagnab malarkey.
Yes.
Wait a second. So this guy isn't selling it? And how did you find it? All
right, so it's parked on the street. I drove by it, right? And I left a note.
You just left a note on the car?
Yeah, I did. Well, I've passed it many, many times. It's not far from my house, but I've never seen it move. And I actually know the owner, or someone knows the owner of the home where it's parked out front of.
Right.
So I left a note, but I inquired to this person to talk to the owner, and it wound up that it was his, actually. But the thing never moves, and yet he's saying he got offered $8,000 for it, and he didn't take it. It's a little ridiculous.
What's the mileage?
I don't know. I don't know the mileage.
Seems important.
It's in really good shape, like outside.
It doesn't move.
And I looked, well, yeah, but see, that's not a good thing with vehicles. When we talk about vehicles, cars are meant to move, man. Remember when I had my orange Jeep Wrangler?
I thought you still had it.
No, I sold the Jeep like a year and a half ago. I had that thing for 15 years, but it's a pretty good run for a vehicle.
Yeah.
But what happened with it, what actually ended up making me sell it, is because I had really stopped driving it a lot. Right. And dude, I would come out every 2 weeks and there'd be like oil leaking or the battery would be dead. Like vehicles, you've got to move them. You can't just let them sit, because that's when they start to have problems.
So why do you want this thing then?
Well, I want to restore it. I want to hook it up. The cab comes off the back. The hardtop comes off. It's in good shape. I would get it painted. The interior is good, but the important thing when you're looking, here's knowledge for you. When you're looking at these older vehicles, the real important thing is the floor and the frame. Make sure none of that's rusted. And I checked that out underneath, and it's all in good shape. So that's important.
It's intense. Is it white?
No, it's not. It's not white.
What color is it?
It's maroon. It's two-tone. You know those old like two-tone Broncos? It's maroon
wood
and silver.
paneling?
No, it kind of that style though. Like it could have the wood paneling in the middle, where it's the maroon and silver. I would paint it different colors.
Buyer beware. Stay away.
Yeah, that's what it is. I still want one. If anybody has a connection to a Bronco who's not going to tell me they were offered $8,000,
Craigslist.
I've looked. See that. I've looked.
Get on the internet, dude.
I'm looking. I'm on the interwebs, bro. Hit me up.
All right.
Ready for some sports content, buddy?
Yeah. What are we getting into?
We're going to lead with the NFL.
Oh, all right. It was a cold day. And Chuck Bednarik was... What? I don't know.
Johnny Unitas back to pass.
Who narrates these things?
Oh, it's Sabo from the NFL films. He's great. His father started it years ago.
Didn't he die?
His father did, but then his son took over, yeah.
And he narrates them? They don't do this music anymore.
Yeah. Oh, sure they do.
Really?
It's a classic. Classic NFL films.
I don't know.
So we want to start with the NFL. We've talked about it last week, but there was some developments after we talked about the Combine. So a couple things we wanted to cover at the Combine. First,
The trumpets.
a notable 40 time was ran
Yes.
this week. So it was Troy Apke. He's a safety from Penn State. He ran himself a 4.3540, which is incredible speed-wise, right? But that might not be the most surprising thing about this 40. Nikki, go ahead and share with us the clip from Troy Apke's 40-yard dash.
What I'm saying,
what did Deion have to
Fitzpatrick
say?
and a guy like Derrick J, they don't need nobody to be successful. They're going to be successful no matter what.
From the minds of Mike
situation
Mayock and
you place
Deion.
them in.
And Rich Eisen.
Oh man, he can run.
Why are you surprised, Deion?
Oh, you know why I'm surprised? I can't say it on TV, but he can run.
Why was he surprised?
He was a track guy.
Right.
The white
He
bowl.
was a track guy.
But you're saying it with
You don't see that.
I mean,
much
you're saying
here
it
to
in
come
tone.
by.
Is he
Let's
wrong?
call it what it is.
Not wrong.
I like that.
We're allowed to say it. We're white.
He goes on and on.
Let me go hug
At
him.
215 pounds.
I'm going to hug him.
Deion's great.
Hey, man, that was good, man. You can run.
Mayock snorts
He could
in the
run.
back.
200 pounds.
Well, listen, this is why they have Deion on, because he just likes to say funny stuff.
Well, and remember, Deion ran.
Were you offended by that?
I love it, actually. I mean, look, we joke about this all the time, but there's actual reality in the jokes. Like, when's the last time you saw a white guy run a sub 4.40?
We're like dunk over 3 people.
Right. Like, it's just something that you don't see a lot of. And so Deion, being one of the guys who ran like a 4.1 or something outrageous, right?
Yeah.
He was so impressed he's on the field, and then you heard his reaction.
So do you know who that kid is?
Troy Apke, yeah, he's a safety from Penn State.
All right, but he's a safety, but he runs track and stuff too. Where is he going in the draft?
I don't know.
Is he going to play in the NFL?
Yeah, I think so. He'll be a late 4th, 5th, 6th round pick for
Just
sure.
because of his speed alone.
Sure, and I think a lot of teams are going to look at him as like
Punt returner?
and a nickel cover corner. I don't think he's going to play safety. He's a little undersized. Maybe play safety, but you never know. But
He's 215.
yeah, well, yeah.
I'm getting close.
Are you? I thought you were. I thought it was.
I was
down.
I was down like 13, and then I'm back up 6.
Have you been?
It's very.
Have you been doing the numbers?
go.
You know, Coach T, and you got a lot of fans for the
I'm
numbers.
98 right now.
Okay, so you're under 2 bills.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, as long as I stay under 2 bills, I think my ACLs will stay in place for at least one
for
more
softball?
spring season.
What's the target for you? I never asked you the target.
I don't really have a target. I used to have a target. You can give me one,
Well,
and then maybe be motivation.
sure. Well,
If we put it out to the listeners,
Right, well-
so that maybe I can stop being a fat piglet
I got you a chicken salad hoagie, but you asked for mayo on it.
with mayo and Swiss, and it was gone quickly.
Yeah, but it was a shorty. It wasn't a foot longer, so you're fine.
Shorty.
Well, I was talking a lot of this week actually about like size and weight because I'm down a bunch because this week I got off a pre-workout and creatine, so I lost like 7 pounds. I'm down around 180. But it's good because that stuff bloats you, man. You just hold a bunch of water. Like, that stuff's bad for you. And you take those new pre-workouts and your heart beats out of your chest. It's bad.
Just take a 5-hour energy.
I just been drinking coffee before I go. People are looking at me funny. I'm walking around the gym with like a 20-ounce Wawa coffee, but it's better.
I totally see you doing that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. Oh, yeah. That's me. I don't care.
Gym bag,
No bag, but I mean,
gallon of water,
all those large
Chalk.
the large T-shirts.
lots of chalk.
LeBron style. All those old country sports leagues T-shirts that Coach T got rid of. The large. I ripped all the sleeves off of them. I'm just sleeveless wandering around the gym. Yeah.
You have different color for each day.
Oh yeah, pink, yellow, green.
You have certain colors based on what your workout is that day.
Or my shorts.
Triceps day is red. Chest day is blue.
Pink for chest day.
Yeah,
yeah.
you would do that too. I see that totally.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's how we do it. You know, I like to match my colors.
Nice. So some combine stuff.
Notable combine guy, and this guy
There's
actually
a couple notable things.
This
going on.
guy I really wanted to talk about, and actually I had a heated discussion with our FTH correspondent in Wisconsin, Tom Nugent, this week about this guy because of how special he is. So I don't know if you've heard of this guy. His name is Shaquille Griffin. He is a linebacker for UCF.
No, that's his brother.
No. He's Shaquille.
No.
Oh, sorry, you're right. His brother Shaquille. He's Shaquem.
Yeah.
Shaquem is a linebacker for UCF, and I actually knew a lot about him before this because UCF is a Florida team, and I listen to Lebitard's show a lot. I really like that show, and they had him on a couple times. So before I talk about what's so interesting about him, he had an impressive showing at the Combine. This is a linebacker. Let me give you his size. He's 6'1", 230. He ran a sub 4.4. He ran a 4.38, which is extremely impressive for a guy his size, right?
I know. How much do you put on the like 40 times and stuff like that? All these guys are fast, right?
True.
And it doesn't really matter how fast they run in the shorts and stuff like that. But I think for him, it's so impressive because he's dealing with a little bit extra in that he doesn't have a hand.
That's right.
And it was just good to see him get some light shown on him for doing the things that he's been doing at
right
UCF.
at UCF. So here's the thing about him at UCF. So what Nick alluded to with his brother. So his twin brother Shaquille plays in the NFL. He's a cornerback for the Seahawks. He also played at UCF with him,
which is very rare nowadays to be a cornerback for the Seahawks.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. A lot of transactional stuff going on. But so some of Shaquem's stats. He was a second-team All-American this year. And he's a 2-year running first-team All-AAC player. He's a very good player, and I've seen a lot of him. As you guys know, I was on board with UCF, so I watched a lot of UCF this year, and I saw him play. And to me, he's an NFL talent, but Nick brings up the point. The kid's missing a hand. And so the story about his hand is almost as interesting as the fact that he plays high-level football without a hand. Did you hear the story about how he lost his hand, Nick?
No, but it was when he was like 4.
When he was 4, yeah. So he was born as a twin, obviously, identical twin to his brother. But when he was born, the umbilical cord was wrapped around his left hand. And so it made a lot of issues for him growing up. And actually, his mother tells a story when he was 4. It caused a lot of pain for him. He actually went into the kitchen and got a big knife and was crying and told his mom he wanted to cut it off. So they decided that the best course of action would be to amputate it because it was so painful and the nerve damage he had. And doing that at a young age has given him the ability to adopt and he's such a great athlete.
You just get, like, you grow up that way and you just get, like, so much tougher than everyone else.
Yeah, I think so. And what I talked about, so this is what I talked about this week, because we talk about, like, where do we think this kid's going to get drafted, right? And he's definitely going to get drafted in the NFL. He's an NFL talent.
Yeah, he absolutely should.
He's going to get drafted.
And he should. But for defense, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Good. So, Nick, he's straight man, and as always, what I was talking with Tom about this week is we talked about playing defense without a hand. And what he equated it to was almost like playing with a club, right? If a guy on defense
that's what I was going to say.
breaks his arm,
how many guys do you see with this humongous, which I think that's really dangerous.
Right. But see, for him, because I've seen him catch a ball. They showed him throwing the ball at the combine a lot. He catches every ball that's thrown to him because this is a kid. If you break your hand, right, and you get it clubbed, now you're playing with a disadvantage because you're used to playing with 2 hands. This kid's been playing football since he was 5 years old with 1 hand, so he's used to tackling, stripping the ball, catching the ball, using his like nub, for lack of a better term, right, and the other hand. So to me, it's different than playing with a club. It's not like playing with a club because he can use that as almost, it's not a full hand, but as a use of the hand, whereas I've never seen a guy with a club make an interception.
No, I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, so
it's the same as using the club.
Yeah, he's looking like late 3rd, early 4th round pick, but he's definitely a guy to keep your eyes on because he's a very impressive athlete.
And he lifted.
Yeah, he did. He repped 225 20 times. He did it with a prosthetic hand. Yeah. That's how he worked out. That was pretty cool actually to watch.
Him, Saquon obviously is freak in nature. Talked about him a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, these guys are insane.
Yeah, and we're going to do a lot more of we talked some of the quarterbacks. We're going to do a lot more in later shows. We're going to do like a full quarterback breakdown. I know everybody wants to hear us talk like the full breakdown of the quarterbacks. You know, we've heard a lot of Jackson talk, and everybody wants to know, you know, people are moving up and down draft boards. We saw this week Kuiper's board came out, which was way different than McShay's, and he had Darnold going 1 to the Browns. So we're going to get into all that coverage. Not yet, right? We're not close.
Well, they made
to
some
the draft,
moves,
but there'll be more of that to come. So anybody else stand out to you at the combine, Nikki?
I didn't watch that much.
No, okay, no,
I really didn't.
Those
I just see the things on Twitter that come up, and those were the things that came up. Saquon being a freak, Griffin, the kid Apke just flying. But I mean,
no, those
for the most part, I don't put too much stock in it.
Well, to answer your question, I don't a ton, but to me, right, all I want to see is the guys run in that range of where they should run. And the funny thing was, because Griffin said to his coaches and the guys at the combine, he goes, "What do you guys think is fast?" And they said, "Well, for a linebacker, like 4.6." And he goes, "That's not what I asked you. Not for a linebacker. What do you guys think is fast?" And they go, "Oh, like 4.4." And he comes out and beats that. When guys can run sub 4.4s, to me, that's really impressive because that's just ridiculous speed.
Yeah, they're gonna, but these times are gonna keep dropping.
Man.
I think they are. I think you've seen it over the years. Like every year, there's a new record, and it's just gonna keep going that way.
Wow, we don't see a white guy running a 4.35.
No, it's like a unicorn. What you know, they do like lifts, they do jumps, they do running. What's the thing that you find the most important?
Okay, good question. So for me, I think it's different positionally, right? Because I like to see when the linemen do the agility drills. I don't care what a lineman runs for, like 40-yard dash, right? When am I asking the lineman to sprint?
Do you really watch them do those?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't care. But what I like seeing is the linemen's agility drills. I want to see how their footwork is, how they move. These are big guys.
Well, that's like an actual football maneuver.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's really important to me for linemen is that. And then for like cornerbacks, I like to watch when they have them run the 4 cone drills and then they have to backpedal.
Yeah.
Those are and rotate your hips, right? Those are things that are important for cornerbacks.
I like to see who lifts the most weight.
I know you do.
That's interesting to me.
You were impressed when Cutler threw up like 30.
Did he?
225s. Oh, yeah.
No, Brady Quinn did it.
Cutler was a monster.
Brady Quinn was a monster. Cutler was a monster?
Cutler was a monster, dude. He had a big 225 day when he got drafted.
Sure, it wasn't the bodybuilder Jay Cutler?
No, it was the quarterback Jay Cutler.
So then McCaffrey last year did 10, and that was a big deal.
Yeah, well, he's not a big guy.
I know, but you just think you'd be able to get more than 10. You train like the entire year to
well,
do
you know
this.
what's weird about that? You know they have a similar thing at the NBA Combine, but they don't do 225. They do 25 on each side. What's that? 45?
25 on each side?
Yeah, instead of 45. Or sorry.
That's nothing.
Or sorry, they do
40, probably just a 45.
They do 25s. They do 185.
185?
Yeah.
So that's
225.
Yeah, it's a 45 plate
and then 25. Kevin Durant couldn't do it at all.
Really?
Not one time.
Good for him. He doesn't need to.
Well, NBA guys, I mean that they're not looking at beefy like NBA football guys are. So
I don't need Kevin Durant to.
I don't either.
Lift
I need him to
just
stroke
keep
threes.
shooting.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if moving to NFL, a lot of transactional stuff going on, and I was trying to keep up with it even today, but there's just a lot. You got your veterans getting released, things happening. So we're gonna go through some of the top events here for you. Just
Let me get on camera.
Yeah, get on camera, Nikki, just so you can see kind of what happened here. So I'm gonna lead with a big one. The Steelers slapped the franchise tag on Le'Veon Bell.
Oh no.
That's a big one. He talked about not playing for them if they did it again. So let me ask you, because the franchise tag is always a very highly questionable type of thing here when they make a player sign the franchise tag instead of giving him like the long-term deal.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on getting tagged with the franchise tag? There's two sides to this, right? Starting on the front side, so he's not getting a long-term deal with guaranteed money, which at the running back position is always dangerous because these guys have such a short shelf life. However, this is his second year on the tag. He's going to make ridiculous amounts of money for 1 year for the position.
Yeah, he just wants longevity and a commitment. I don't know. I know that's a terrible thing to say when you're supposed to give your opinion, but I'm not like one of these contract guys that gets into, well, the salary cap and the, they're over the luxury tax. I don't know. That's like a baseball term.
Yeah.
I don't really dive into it that much. I see where he's coming from, though, because he went through this last year, and it was like, is he going to sit out? Now I think he's talking about sitting out again.
But the question is, can he? Can he turn down $13 million? It's so much money.
It is, but he's also made that much money, and he's worth a lot more. He wants a team that's going to say, yeah, here's your contract for however many years you're looking for. We're committed to you. You are, and that's why they don't want to do it, because running backs are – one day they're here, and then they're one play away from never playing again.
And they fall off a cliff so quickly. And the thing is, what I don't get from like the managing of it side that you brought up with the salary cap is having somebody under a franchise tag hurts you really bad against the cap. So that's so much money to one position. I don't necessarily understand why you wouldn't go ahead and give him a 4-year deal. Give him his guaranteed money spread out over with the bonus and do that. You could give him a 4-year deal like 30, let's say 40 mil, and make 20 of it guaranteed, whereas this year you're going to give him 13 for 1 year. I don't know. I'm not a GM, but I've never been a huge fan of the franchise tag for the second year. Like Kirk Cousins got it for the second year because you get an exponential increase on how much you're going to get paid the second year that you get tagged. It's ridiculous.
The whole thing makes my head hurt, and I don't have the attention span to follow the salary caps and the franchise tagging. I know who's on the free agent market. I know who's out there and looking for big deals, but I don't know what's the motivation for Pittsburgh to do that.
I just think that they're thinking, because the way running backs are, that they don't want to have him locked up for 4 years.
Yeah.
They just want to get that year, next year, 2 years. And the thing with Pittsburgh, I feel like, look, Ben is not a spring chicken, right? Their window's now. in 2 or 3 years, that team, when Ben's gone, they're going to be nothing. And so they don't want to
I see them way down next year.
They don't want to have the best running back in the league 3 years from now tied up on a huge deal when that team's under the decline. They're going to want to start rebuilding already.
I see them way down next year. I think Antonio Brown's going to start on the back end of the hill. I think that he's on the downswing. These are all really good players. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to sound like these guys are no good anymore. But there comes a certain point in a team's chemistry where everybody kind of gets to the pinnacle, and then you have to go down.
Agreed.
Juju Smith-Schuster, really good player, but you saw what Antonio Brown was when Ben wasn't there. Ryan Shazier is not going to play, I don't think, next year.
Oh, he wants to. That's a whole nother crazy thing, man.
But I don't think he's going to. And you saw what happened to them when he didn't. These are things where maybe that's one of the reasons they need to start rebuilding some things.
Totally. We talk about this with the Eagles, right? Because people were saying, well, we're going to be here for the next 3-4 years. I got news for you guys. That's not how the NFL works. You can't measure yourself against the Patriots, who have managed to do this for 10, 15 years. That's not the norm. In the NFL, you get a window. You get a small window. And the Steelers are one of these teams that have hung around at the top for so long. There's going to come a point where they fall off. And these guys, Ben's not going to play forever. Like Antonio Brown's not going to play forever. These guys are going to start to hit that decline, and when they do, it's how quickly can you rebound in the NFL.
Yeah, they're just on the downswing, and I just see that continuing next year. There's nothing really going for them. I think the defensive thing is
their defense is in bad shape. And to your point, you saw how bad that defense was without Shazier.
Because
they were horrible.
Yeah, but when they were at the top of the elite teams in the AFC. That it was based on a lot on their defense.
Yep.
And Ben making plays and scrambling, and he had solid guys, but Antonio Brown's the best receiver in the league. But he was able to make the plays enough to get the team over the top. So the defense basically ran their team. Their offense kept them.
Yes, they were a running team. Remember
afloat.
With the bus, and they were a running team that Ben could then throw when he had to, and that's how it went. No, I agree. I agree with you. So, ton of more transactional stuff going on here. Let's start with the Bennett brothers. So the Eagles go ahead and sign Michael Bennett to a contract. How do you feel about that?
I think it's a good football decision.
Yeah, agreed. And then the other stuff I don't really care about. We caught some flack for that this week, didn't we?
Yeah, it's a good football decision. Howie continues to make moves, and I think it drew a lot of attention in the NFL world because the Eagles aren't necessarily just sitting on their hands, and they're not happy with what they did. They want to continue success, and they started it kind of early this year in making some decent moves.
Yeah, and as we just said, the time is now. You've got to attack this next season like you need to win another Super Bowl in the next 2 or 3 years, because after that, all these ancillary guys that you have, your cornerbacks, your defensive linemen, they're all going to want inflated contracts, and you can't keep it up that long, so you have to attack it now.
Yeah, and he's definitely an upgrade from Vinny Curry and
Yeah, I think he's a great player. So Martellus Bennett, the Pats released him. I don't know what his health is. Remember, he had that shoulder issue last year, but he's still a premier tight end in the league.
I don't know if he is.
You don't think?
I don't think he is anymore. I mean, if you can't get it done with Brady, he didn't have that great a year this year.
Well, he only played a couple games, and again, it was that shoulder injury. Remember, the big thing with him, and that happened with the Packers when they talked about it, is the Packers brought him in and gave him that contract, but they were going after him for money back because he didn't disclose that shoulder injury.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he got through a physical. That's a whole other story, right?
Yeah, but it happens quickly where this shoulder thing, it could be the end of your career.
How long do you think Gronk retires? How long do you think Gronk can keep this up, man?
He's gonna play again. I got sick of reading articles about him retiring and going into the WWE and stuff like that, which he's definitely gonna do.
That's gonna happen.
He's definitely gonna do, but you don't turn down the prime of your career to do something goofy like that. Like I understand that
he's got years and years to do
the concussions
WWE.
Thing's a big deal.
Sure. And he gets beat up, man.
He definitely does, but
he's a big guy, but he gets beat up a lot.
If he thinks that he's going to get into wrestling and not go through that,
yeah, those wrestling guys get beat up too, man.
I mean, they really do, and it's like flying off a top rope, into a table. It's no better than getting hit in the NFL.
It's fake, but those guys put their bodies on the line every night.
Yeah, they definitely
do.
And
it's a grind. What people don't realize about wrestling, and I don't want to diverge into wrestling too much, but what people don't realize is you see them on TV like once a week, but these guys are doing these house shows all over the country in between, and all the stars got to show up. They got to wrestle every day on top of your workout routine, all that stuff. So that, yeah, you're right.
Gronk just wants to be seen. I don't know if you saw his.
He's a giant kid.
He did a thing on Showtime. It was did stand-up comedy.
That doesn't surprise me.
It was cringeworthy a little bit.
Sure. He's not a great speaker.
No, he's definitely not. But he's just up there telling these stupid jokes, and people were kind of laughing at him. He's just being Gronk, like, taking his shirt off and just weird stuff. It was really, really weird.
Yeah, he's
a
giant.
He probably made money doing it, and he wants to be seen. Oh, yeah. I don't believe he's retiring anytime soon.
So, more transactional stuff. This was a big one. The Seahawks released Richard Sherman, Prof.
And I think they should have.
The Legion of Boom, no more.
Yeah, because they also see where this thing's going. You can't keep everybody forever.
No, you can't. It's a salary cap sport. We're just talking about it. You can't hang on to these guys forever.
Yeah. I think it's a good move for them. It's, again, money's involved.
Now, do you think he's still a premier corner in the league? I mean, there's a lot of teams after him. I saw he's visiting the Niners, the Broncos. I mean, speaking of the Broncos traded Aqib Talib to the Rams. So now that's their problem. That dude's a scary dude. He's criminal written all over him. Sorry, I don't know him personally, but like he's actually. So one thing I wanted to say about Aqib Talib.
So
listen. He tells this story on the Le Batard show, and it blew my mind. So if you've never heard Aqib Talib, he came from an extremely rough upbringing, right? He tells a story about his grandmother shooting his uncle because he was like acting a fool at their house growing up. Like literally, Big Mama, he called him Big Mama. Seriously, Big Mama shot his uncle. Shot him. The cops showed up, and she's like, what? He's trying to break in my house. Like, Big Mom shot his uncle. This dude's a rough dude.
Honestly,
he's a rough guy.
There's so many stories like that in the NFL.
These guys, well we don't.
It hardens you, and it makes you tougher, and that's why they are the type of athletes they are sometimes.
And what I think we take for granted a lot with these guys, even though like it gets covered, but it doesn't enough, is how hard of an upbringing a lot of these guys actually had. You know, they came from what we would call the ghetto, or like really low income, you know, just working class or even worse situations. And these are real life scenarios for these guys. Like to hear about a guy telling a story as a kid that his grandmom shoots his uncle, like that's pretty impressive, man.
There's really a lot of stories like that out there. It's surprising, but at the same time, it's not that surprising.
Yeah. So I may miss some of the transactions, like I said, because I'm trying to cover them. Another one.
Browns.
The Browns. Well, the Browns trade DeShone Kizer to the Packers.
Yeah.
That's ho-hum?
Yeah, it's ho-hum. Everybody is on the Browns bandwagon. They're going to be in the playoffs this year. They're going to compete in the AFC, and I don't see that at all.
I totally agree. I mean,
we're assuming they're not going to screw up the draft.
Here's the thing about the trade of DeShone Kizer, because they just spent a second-rounder on him last year, right? It clearly then paves the way for one of these two picks that they're taking is going to be a quarterback, right? Has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be.
So if I'm them, do you go up and get Saquon?
Well, the question is, here's the thing. If you take Saquon 1, then you're leaving yourself at the whim of the next two teams.
Which is
the Giants at 2.
Giants at 2 will probably get a quarterback.
If Saquon's not there, I think the Giants probably take a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And then who's at 3? I think the Colts.
They don't need a quarterback.
Do they?
No, they don't need a quarterback.
So the Colts don't need a quarterback. So if you're the Browns, do you weigh that risk of the Colts either trading out because they don't need a quarterback, someone coming up to get one?
I just love Saquon. I would take him first and just make sure that I get him. And then you have whatever is left over, the quarterbacks. I'm not like
I was discussing.
I'm not sold on these quarterbacks. Are you?
I like Rosen. I think he's an NFL Pro Bowler, man. I think Josh Rosen's a great player.
I think Darnold is the best of the bunch. Josh Allen's flying up the ranks, but who knows? So
I'm personally
I would take Saquon because I love him.
Well, here's the big argument is, right, to your point, I think we talked about this last week, it's hands down he's the best player in the draft. And so if you're not going to take him 1 and you're going to rely on a quarterback, you're giving up the best player in the draft. You're handing him to the Giants then if you don't take him 1, because the Giants are definitely going to take him 2.
Yeah.
I don't see any way they don't. So, yeah, that's tough.
What are the Giants going to do at quarterback, though?
Well, to your point, maybe they're not sold on these guys. And Eli,
so Eli play one more year.
Eli's done. This was such a disaster for them. That coach, that's your boy, McAdoo. What a clown that guy was.
I'm going for his haircut.
Yeah, I bet you are.
I am.
What a clown that guy is.
Out.
Anybody that comes with a hair like that and then sunglasses on, and like that guy was a total joke. That may not necessarily mean that Eli's done just because that team was a disaster. You remember, they lost their top 2 wide receivers the first 2 weeks.
But he's like 37.
Sure.
38. Like, you have to plan for the future a little bit.
Yeah, but maybe not this year.
So who's the quarterbacks next year?
I don't know. We'd have to look at that. I don't even know.
Where's Lamar go?
That's a great question. I personally think he probably goes early second.
Really?
Early to mid-second, yeah.
If you look at the teams that need a quarterback right now, Jets, Cardinals, Broncos, I say the Giants, Browns. Tyrod Taylor's not taking you anywhere.
Well, that's the other move. So the Browns brought in Tyrod Taylor, which I'm not sure what they're doing there. Maybe their plan is draft their quarterback of the future, let Tyrod play, let Tyrod get in there and start, and let the kids sit and watch.
Run around, throw the ball to now Landry and Gordon.
Yeah.
That's not a bad 1-2 punch.
No, it's not.
And if they get Saquon, everything's pretty much ready to go for your offense.
Except the offensive line, and Joe Thomas may retire, and he's their only real offensive lineman. So now you're going to put a lot of skill position guys around the worst offensive line in the league.
I want to see the Browns do well.
I do too.
I want to see them be good. Every single year since I've been a kid, they've been like completely awful.
The crazy thing with the Browns, we've talked about this before, like the NFL is built so that you can make up ground because you get these high-level picks, but they screw them up every year.
Yeah.
Even if they don't take a quarterback. The player that they take stinks, and they just screw it up. I don't get it.
Well, and that's what I said. It depends on what they do at the first part of this draft, who they can get. Me personally, I would take Saquon and just
call it a day. Take Saquon and then worry about your quarterback at 4?
Yeah, because I think Darnold is the most ready to go guy. I really do. His arm is I think it's just better than Rosen.
We're going to disagree on that one.
I know
Rosen has the best arm in the class.
I know they have cannons, but I'm saying as far as the throws that they make.
Yeah, I've seen Rosen
like professional throws.
I feel like Darnold, I don't know.
All right, we can talk about
we're going to talk about that later. So, anything else you saw on the wire transaction that I missed, Nikki?
No.
All right.
No wire.
All right, let's shift it, baby. Let's go NBA.
Allen Iverson in the news.
So, before we get into more serious NBA news, we wanted to start right here with our buddy, AI.
So, tell the backstory a little bit. So, the Sixers played Charlotte, and what's the lady's name that does the interviews?
Oh,
I forget her name.
I forget her name too.
So,
it's not important.
Basically, Mark Zumoff and I can never Abdenabi. I can never pronounce his name right. So basically, they go into the stands and they see Allen Iverson at the game, and they want to interview Allen Iverson because why wouldn't you want to interview Allen Iverson?
The man, the myth himself.
Like
the answer.
Just a legend in Philadelphia.
Yes.
And he's hanging out. He's there at the game. He's got a Yankees hat on.
He always does for some reason. It's so weird.
So they sit down and ask Allen about the Sixers and how they look. And here's how it went.
And what they're showing out here on the floor.
I love my guys. I love my little dudes. They my little guys. I love them.
What brings you to Charlotte?
I live here.
Okay.
I live here.
I didn't know that. The more you know. I was talking to you about the best Philadelphia athlete of all time. You said it wouldn't be you. In terms of where Philadelphia is headed, what's going to be the deal breaker for them to make some noise in the playoffs?
He's thinking.
I would be crazy to say we think we need more. I think we got enough to be competitive like we've always been, and I just think we have enough. I think it's our time. But I'm gonna believe that anyway, regardless if I think we need more pieces or.
He kind of sounds like my take on the Steelers and the NFL.
Yeah,
kind of just putzing around a little.
I think we need what man.
Not really sure,
dude. For AI, first off, we love Allen, but yeah, he was appeared to be intoxicated there.
A little bit sauced.
A little sauced.
So, as a reporter, you think you could kind of get a feel for that prior to putting him right on television?
So the question is, but do you want that as a reporter? Because look, you're going to get so much more coverage.
No, but that's putting that guy in a bad spot.
Well, I'm Susie. I just want to kiss you.
That's the best one of all time. So
I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Joe Namath. He does a weird thing with his L's.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the team play.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't
struggling.
Chad Pennington is a good quarterback, but I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
You're breaking into some kind of European accent there. But, no, I think that set the bar. So Allen might be, like, right underneath that.
Well, Allen didn't do anything to seriously embarrass himself like Joe did.
No, but
Joe was.
Every time I've listened to it a couple of times, and every time he says – I love my little guys. I love my little dudes.
Nick was sitting here while we were prepping, just repeating it. My little guys.
They're my little guys. That's the best. That will be another one of Allen's famous interviews.
So big come up here. We've been talking about it for weeks, and actually, Prof, it's a reality now. The LeBron James saga. There was a report this week. Here, ready for it?
Is it?
There's a report this week that he narrowed it down to 4 teams. 4 teams for this offseason. Let me read them to you.
Go ahead.
Cavaliers, obviously, if he stays. The Lakers, which we knew about. The Rockets, which is a very intriguing one. We're going to talk about the Rockets in a little bit. And those Philadelphia 76ers.
Fake news. Fake news.
It's real news,
buddy.
No,
it's not.
It's real news.
LeBron came out and said, no, I never did that.
Yeah, of course he did. But he has to.
So
he has to say that right
So
now.
who leaks something like this?
This is how reporting works these days,
Who
buddy.
reported it?
This is I have to pull it up. You're putting me on the spot here.
Come on, man.
This is real news, buddy. Real news.
So
those are the 4.
All right, even if those are the 4, I still think he stays in Cleveland.
I tend to agree with that. I think he stays in Cleveland too. But I really think, I'm telling you, man, we talked about this, and I think it's really true. And it's honestly his best chance to win a championship in the next 2 years is with the Sixers, not with the Cavaliers.
Definitely that. I agree with that 100%. But where does that put you as far as like the ball distribution, him and Ben being on the floor at the same time? Can that happen?
Yeah.
Do they coexist?
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem.
No?
Nope.
All right. As long as that's not a problem and Ben's still here, because I want Ben here forever.
Yeah, Ben's not going anywhere. He wouldn't come to the Sixers without Ben and Joel. That's my point. The reason he wants to come is because of those guys. Ben's going to be here for 15 years. Ben's the centerpiece. Joel also is a centerpiece, but big men don't last as long. He's got the injuries and all that stuff. But Ben's the guy. He wouldn't come without Ben, and he wouldn't want to come to then like supplant Ben. He's coming to enhance.
The Lakers thing is interesting. They've done their own billboard campaign now. If you've seen that, we touched on that for Philadelphia,
LA
last week.
Philly.
But why would he want to go there other than the Hollywood scene?
I don't see a basketball reason for him to go there, to be honest. I mean, that's a bad team. They have some young pieces, but LeBron's 33, dude. Like, he's not going to be playing at this level for another 4 years. He's got 2, maybe 3 years left elite.
Right.
And his physicality is going to start to drop off quickly. So, I mean, I'm going to stress on it. I think his best chance is the Sixers, but the Rockets is an intriguing one too. Now, the more important question is, how does he fit with that team and the D'Antoni system? I don't think LeBron's a great fit for the Rockets team necessarily.
No, and there's pieces down there that people said that they wouldn't be a good fit, but I think anybody with Chris Paul would be a good fit. So he would be in a much different role if Chris Paul is there, obviously.
And, of course, Harden.
But I think that sets him up for more success as far as getting the ball, scoring points, being having Paul run the offense instead of him always running the offense.
Well, the thing about him going to Houston, which is crazy, is that I'm going to give you statistics.
Yes.
When it comes to usage rate, Paul and Harden on the same team are both in the top 5 in the league in usage. So I don't know how
Where do you pull this from,
dude. I'm a statistical wizard. I don't know how they then translate that to LeBron, who also has a high usage rate. I don't feel like he's a great fit there personally. I think they probably would do well. And what it does for them is when you get into situations where you have to grind out half court and not run that D'Antoni 12-second shoot system, it makes them better served to do that. But personally, I don't know if he's a great fit there.
If he was here, the Sixers would be unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, they're instantly the best team in the East, like we've talked about. And I'm telling you, this is real. We're going to hear more about this as the season progresses. And depending on how the Sixers do in the playoffs, how the young guys look, Ben and Joel, this is a real thing, man. This is a real thing. There's a slot for him here. And if he comes to this team, they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. Probably maybe the best team in the league.
Yeah, I'll take him.
I think we'll take him.
I'll take him. I said last week that I wasn't sure if I wanted that. That was stupid. I mentioned it was stupid. I would take him. I would love to see a couple championships and bring some more excitement to Wells Fargo. Even though it's packed down there anyway. I mean,
it's a tough ticket now.
The people are getting out there. That's good to see.
Yep. So another transactional news here in the NBA. Derrick Rose signed with the T-Wolves. Yeah, he hasn't played yet. But the thing about this is, who the Timberwolves coach is right now. It's Tom Thibodeau, and that's who coached him.
Tibbs
when he was an MVP in Chicago.
The Timber Bulls.
Yeah, Timber Bulls. That's what we got going on now. Jimmy Butler. Yeah, D Rose. So
I can't take credit for Timber Bulls. That was a Twitter.
Okay, Timber Bulls. I kind of like that.
I don't take credit.
Would you put like the little wolf face on the bull? Like give the bull? Like,
no. I would put the wolf with the bull horns.
Okay,
definitely.
Gotcha.
That's the way to go.
And you make the wolf red.
Yeah, it's a new favorite logo.
Gotcha. Better than the Raptors.
Yeah. Raptors.
We're gonna talk Raptors. So here's the thing about D Rose, and
he's done, man. He's done.
You think so?
He's done.
I've thought so too, but
stop.
Can he maybe he finds a role there?
He finds a role. I mean, he's not Derrick Rose anymore.
Yeah, he hasn't been Derrick Rose for a couple years.
So he's done, man. Like when you talk about him as a role player, that's a nice thing. Warm and fuzzies, fine. He's not Derrick Rose.
You don't think he's going to contribute for the Wolves?
Do you really think that you're going to see him come out and be the MVP again?
Oh no, that's never going to happen.
Like I don't see him.
What's a success for you marking Derrick Rose in Minnesota? Then get you 15 tonight off the bench?
I think that's a big success.
I mean, that's probably aggressive too.
Yeah. I think that would be a huge success, but I don't see that happening at all. I think he maybe gives Jimmy Butler a breather every once in a while.
Yeah, I think that's what his role is.
I mean, but as far as him making some kind of huge comeback, it's not going to happen. He doesn't have any knees.
So we're going to start in the Western Conference of the NBA because of where we're talking about the Timberwolves. And we had 2 long Western Conference win streaks come to an end this week. The Rockets won 17 straight. That streak was broken in Toronto by the Raptors.
And Drake.
Drake
was involved heavily.
You know what is a weird thing I saw about that? They're inbounding the ball late, that being the Rockets.
Yes.
And Drake is like right on top of the guy.
He was actually whispering into, who was it? I forget who was inbounding. Trevor Ariza.
I think
maybe.
It was Ariza.
He was like whispering into his ear, literally right on the court.
How can they allow that?
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's fun.
It's fun. It's cool. And those guys all love Drake, so like they're probably not anti-cool with it. But like watching a game, I'm like, dude.
Yeah, there was probably a meeting in the commissioner's office about that.
You think?
Like, hey guys, we can't have that happen.
It's a
anymore.
little much
because he was part of the entire game, so he did a little speech at halftime.
Right, about the streaks ending.
Yeah, and he's basically coaching the team, like walking up and down.
Oh, yeah, he's
the
involved,
court.
Man, like always talking to the opposing bench. Like he's all over the place.
Which is great for Toronto.
It's cool. It's definitely cool, but...
Imagine if Will Smith was down there at Wells Fargo doing that.
Is that who you would pick for Philly, Will Smith?
I mean...
He's not cool enough for the NBA guys
free Meek,
to like him. Well, yeah.
Once Meek gets out...
Dreams and nightmares.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who would you pick for Philly?
It's a good question.
I think Will Smith's up there. Bradley Cooper, but he doesn't have the. He's not going to make a
Eve.
Eve.
When the Eve sighting? When's the last time you had an Eve sighting?
Oh my god,
that's a huge fan of Eve back in the day. Were you an Eve fan?
I wouldn't classify myself as an Eve fan.
I like Eve.
I like DMX.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting into weird territory.
All right, so
who would you pick for Philadelphia? I'm going Will Smith.
You're gonna take. I'm a huge Will Smith guy. I just don't know again if he's cool enough. Like Drake is
Will
so
Smith's
cool.
Definitely cool.
He's old though, man.
He's like dad cool.
These NBA guys don't like that. About his son.
No. Oh God, no. No, keep that kid away.
So the Rockets streak ends, and then the Pelicans ran themselves off a nice
Come on, Pelicans.
10-game win streak. That ended to the Wizards. The interesting thing about the Pelicans, and we talked about this last week, and it's continuing to happen, is they're winning with Boogie being out.
You just want to hate on Boogie.
I just
you
want
have to get a dig in every week.
I just want to have the people hear how my theory is correct about Boogie and the type of player that the league can't win with now, and it's that ball dominant back to the basket type of big man. It just, the league has passed that by. And you see what happens to the Pelicans when Boogie's not on the floor. Anthony Davis has more room to move. Drew Holiday, these guys have more room to spread out, and they won 10 straight games without Boogie. That says that, just wrap it up. That says it in itself.
All right, you win, man.
So, but the question here is the Western Conference really that much better than the East now? We just saw those. These are both playoff teams in the West, top 4 teams, and they had their winning streaks ended by Eastern Conference playoff teams, right? Mm-hmm. Let me read to you the current Western Conference standings.
Go ahead.
So the Rockets are 1 right now and the Warriors are 2.
Yep.
Those two notwithstanding, we know how good they are. 3 is the Blazers. 4 is the Pelicans. The Spurs are 5, and the Spurs stink. They are no threat at all. Okay? I'm going on a record right now. They're no threat.
They're a different team with the missing piece.
And they're old. They're no threat. The Timberwolves, the Timberwolves are 6.
Yeah.
But now the bottom 4 are a big cluster. The Thunder and the Clippers are right now sitting at 7 and 8, but the Nuggets and Jazz are both tied with the Clippers for 8th.
My Thunder thing is not coming
They're
through.
falling apart, man. They may not even make the playoffs. They're only 1 game right now ahead of those 3 at the 8 seed to not even make it.
All right, let's wait for April.
Yeah, it's early, but when I run that list down, I thought
they'd be at least I thought they'd be at number 4, 3 or 4 by now.
When I run down that list without the top 2, are you worried about any of those other teams in the West?
No. So, I mean, when you look at it across the board, yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. But then you mentioned the top 2 teams, and they're head and shoulders above everybody else. Okay, they lost a game here and there. The Rockets got their streak snapped by Toronto. You're allowed to lose a game.
Oh, I agree.
It's no big deal. But those 2 teams are head and shoulders above any team in the East, and that's why everybody says that the West is so much better than the East. But across the board, like if you're looking at spread out throughout every team, yeah, then the East has nice parity, and it's starting to shape up like the old time NBA where there's other teams involved.
That's my point.
Like
for years we talked
pre-Michael Jordan.
Right. For years we talked about the West as like the murderer's row, right? When you would go through the West, because it would be, the Spurs and the Lakers and the Mavericks and the Kings, right? All these teams were very good, and they'd get in each other's way in the West, and it would be who from the East would make it, like the Nets or just nobodies, right? And then LeBron comes in, and it's always hit LeBron's team in the East. But again, it's like the West, they beat themselves up. They're so good. When I look, the Blazers are a nice team. McCollum and
no chance.
What the hell's his name? Lillard are a great backcourt, but like they're the 3 seed in the West. They're nothing to me. They're not that good, my opinion. I just don't. They're not a threat to me at all. And I would take, like, if you asked me in a 7-game series, who would I take, the Raptors or the Blazers? I would take the Raptors over the Blazers.
Yeah.
So now flipping that, because you brought up the Raptors with the Rockets, and we talked about this last week, and the Raptors continue to run away with the East. We may see, I think we're going to see a reverse effect of what we talked about last week. What we talked about last week with the Raptors is they may go in as the 1 seed with no pressure, right? Because everybody thinks they're going to lose. But what I think is going to happen now is the flip of that. They're going to go in with a ton of pressure because they're so clearly running away with the regular season that now that hammer is going to get pressed on them even harder about, you guys need to get it done in the postseason. Yeah. I think that's going to weigh them down even more.
A lot's changed in a week. That was a huge win for them, and it kind of brought more attention.
Yeah, and now we're hearing so much about, that we talked about this a little bit last week, but Lowry and DeRozan have like the worst field goal percentages NBA history for a minimum amount of playoff games played.
Yep.
Like they're epically bad in the postseason.
They were at the Nova game last night.
Yeah, did you see that? Well, Lowry's a Nova guy.
Mike Lowry. It's a good movie, Will Smith. All right. No, I agree with you. It's funny how so much has changed in a week, because we kind of thought they were going to sneak in under the radar, and they're just kind of pulling ahead right now. And is it sustainable? We'll see. I like them. I think I like their chances to come out of the East, just because the way Cleveland's been struggling and how they look.
Boston doesn't look great.
Ugh.
Washington still doesn't have Wall back. The top of the East is a mess. And this is what's going to be interesting about the Eastern Conference playoffs, because here's where you see teams like the Heat.
I just like that it's unpredictable.
Or the Sixers could easily beat, like the 5-6, like a 5-6-7 seed in the East could beat a 2-3-4 with the way these playoffs are shaping up.
It's so nice that it's unpredictable.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to not always just know what it's going to be set. Like hockey's that way. Hockey playoffs are like that. Like the 8 seed beats the 1 all the time. And you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, it makes it fun.
Yeah, I agree. So we're gonna have.
That's why you play the games, Jack.
We're gonna have a big month coming up here of NBA, because the playoffs are heating up. There's only about 10 regular season games left, so we're getting there. We are getting there. But let's move to what we're really here to talk about today. Selection Sunday, NCAA March Madness. We're here, baby.
CBS. Who's your favorite play-by-play CBS guy during March Madness?
That's a good question.
Do you like it? Are you a Nance or?
I'm not a big Nance guy.
Are you a big Gus Johnson?
Love Gus Johnson.
Do you?
Love Gus.
I think he's a little bit too over the top.
Gus calls a great game.
I'm a big Vern Lundquist guy.
Lundquist is a classic.
I like Vern.
Vern's
I think
great.
He's my favorite.
I'm going to stick with Gus. I love Gus.
Whoa! Oh! You don't like, what's his name? Jerry, do you like Jerry? Onions in Manhattan guy? Jerry Raftery?
Not a huge fan. He's all right.
Is that his name, Jerry
Raftery? Yeah, it's not.
Is it Jerry?
Raftery. The T is in front of the ER.
Is it Jerry?
I don't know. His first name is. No, it's Mike, isn't it?
That was Bill.
Bill? Richard?
Jerry. Oh wow.
So
I'm gonna find that out.
Yeah. So before we get into the tournament itself, there was some news yesterday that was sort of. I don't know. It bothered me a little bit. The UConn let go of Kevin Ollie. Did you see that?
No.
As head coach?
No.
They fired him yesterday.
Former Sixer.
Sixer great. Kevin Ollie fired from UConn. Now, they're going after him to say that he was let go with cause. Now, I know that's mostly for the money, so they can try not to pay him the rest of his contract. But there was some alleging of some violations that may or may not have been committed.
What were the alleged violations?
They haven't come out with those yet.
There's been so much crap, man. There's so much stuff going on with all these violations, and now Sean Miller's back, and
Arizona.
Nothing ever happened,
dude,
right?
Arizona looks really good too.
It's Bill Raftery.
Raftery,
yeah.
I
don't know what Jerry. I think I know somebody.
So it will be. Sorry. This is crazy. So Arizona won the Pac-12 tournament, right? And they're going in as a top seed. They look really good. How ridiculous would it be if Arizona wins the national championship amidst all the Sean Miller stuff?
You know what? If those stories got out and they weren't true, I hope they do. I hope they do go on a run just to stick it to everybody. Because it goes back to my fake news, man. What can you believe anymore?
No, I'm with you. I mean, honestly, this is just crazy to me to think about that they could go and win a national championship and then a week later have it vacated.
Yeah.
Like that's
take down the banner.
Like, yeah, we're seriously at that point here where we're waiting for the shoe to drop on these alleged, wiretaps that they have from the FBI, but yet Sean Miller's still coaching and Arizona's still really good.
It's not real. If it was real, the story would be out. There would be sanctions. He wouldn't be able to coach.
Well, the problem is the smoking gun in this case is the wiretaps, and the FBI is an ongoing investigation, so they're not going to break up their ongoing investigation for one guy. They've got a target of allegedly 10 to 12 guys.
Miller seems pretty confident.
Hey, here's the thing about it. If he wins a national championship this year and they take it away, when Memphis and Derrick Rose, we talked about Cal last week, when Memphis lost to Kentucky in the national championship game, or I'm sorry, maybe it was Kansas. Sorry, it was Mario Chalmers in Kansas. When Memphis lost to Kansas, they got that vacated because of what happened with Rose and the tests. But we all look back at that year. Did you say that Memphis didn't play in the national championship that year?
No, it's stupid.
It's stupid. Of course they were there. So getting it vacated doesn't mean dog crap to me. Like they took Reggie.
It goes against the coach's record and like.
Well, that really doesn't seem to have hurt Cal.
No, I know.
They took Reggie Bush's Heisman Trophy away from him. Well, then who won the Heisman that year? Reggie Bush won the Heisman.
Yeah.
So that stuff to me.
I'd be mad if they took my Heisman away.
But if you were Bush, wouldn't you like send it to like Switzerland or somewhere they couldn't get it and just be like, give them a middle finger, like you can't get my trophy.
They can get it.
How? Switzerland, no extradition, bro.
Planes.
No trophy extradition from Switzerland.
That's an interesting topic. No, it's really stupid. It just sucks that because they do pull your name out of the record books and stuff like that. Like I every once in a while go on Wikipedia and I see, who won the Heisman in 1982? Is the name going to be there or is it not going to be there? Well, that's a good question. I'm look that up now. If Reggie Bush is on Wikipedia.
So my thing is, while you're doing it, and I believe I've seen this, is that they'll still list his name, or they'll say vacated, and then in parentheses they'll have like Reggie Bush won it. So to me, it doesn't do anything. But yeah, pretty interesting with the Kevin Ollie stuff and the Arizona stuff. What we wanted to talk about first, before we talk about some of the Arizona teams and your favorite teams, or some bubble teams going on here. There's an interesting thing with Oklahoma. So Oklahoma had a rough stretch down the end of the season here, and they got bounced out of the Big 12 tournament quite quickly. So the question is, with them, do you want to see them in the tournament or not? They're a true bubble team, but they have Trae Young. He's an exciting kid. I personally want to see him in the tournament. I think it's a better tournament if he's in it because I want to see what he does, right? But they may not make it. I think they're on the outside.
I don't think they should make it.
They're not.
They have like 13 losses or something.
Yeah, they're not. And they shit their pants in the tournament. Like first-round exit. If they maybe won a game or two, they could have pushed themselves in, but they get bounced early. So now he's sitting there. The thing that I heard, though, which is kind of interesting, would it be better for him if they just get to the NIT? Because then he could probably win that, and then
he'll win the MVP of that tournament.
Yeah, and then he can.
Why do they even run that?
I don't know. The thing about the NIT is crazy. None of the teams, like your first one or two out on Lenardi's like bracketology, ever win the NIT because those teams don't even care. They didn't want to be there. They thought they were going to the NCAA tournament. Some like fifth place Big Sky Conference team wins the NIT because they're actually like happy to be there. And the other teams couldn't care less. Yeah, exactly. Like the other teams, like Oklahoma's and stuff, they really couldn't care less.
I want to see him in the tournament because I want to see him more in the spotlight. I think that he struggled a lot in the spotlight, and I want to see more of what he is when everybody's watching him.
Totally agree.
And but with the selections, the NCAAs, they don't necessarily care about that. Just from not having Ben Simmons in the tournament.
Well, LSU had a losing record that year.
Yeah, I know.
That was tough.
But I think Oklahoma's like very similar to them.
They're on the bubble. They're definitely on the bubble. So another bubble team here, right?
But I want to see them.
I want to see them too. I don't think Oklahoma will get in. How about Notre Dame? You think they make it? Coach T is very interested.
I say yes for Coach T.
I do too, and I think their second win, which Coach T correctly called in the ACC tournament, secured it because the ACC is very good again this year.
He called them running out of gas, too.
And he did against Duke. But I think that second win is going to get them a slot. I think Notre Dame gets in. Again, we'll all find that out tonight in the selection Sunday night going on here. But I do think they get in. Some more notables. Nova won the Big East. Xavier got bounced, which probably bounces them off the 1 line, I think. What do you think? You think they're a 1 or a 2?
I think who else would you replace him with? That's the only thing.
Right. So
I think they stay a 1.
I think I think what'll do it is this. UNC is playing Clemson for the ACC championship today, and if UNC wins, I think they jump ahead of Xavier. I know. I'm going to let you talk about UNC in a minute.
Much.
So I think UNC, if they win, will jump ahead, and they'll get the 1 winning the ACC tournament, and then it would be Nova, UNC, Kansas, and who else do they have?
Virginia.
And Virginia. Virginia's number 1 overall yet, and Virginia. I think those would be your 4.
Definitely Virginia. Purdue fell off, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, they did. But they'll be a 3 line, probably 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So
let me just talk quickly about UNC and see what everybody feels like.
Yeah, let's talk about where this came from.
All right. So this comes from an ongoing argument that sports is more fun and meaningful when you are in the territory that team represents. Does that make sense? Did I explain that right?
Yes, I'm with you.
So
I'm following you.
So
you follow me,
in other words, it's the Philadelphia Eagles. They're called the Philadelphia Eagles because they represent Philadelphia. No, you don't have to live in the city limits to be considered from Philadelphia. It's the surrounding areas. Now, there was an argument that went on yesterday, a long text conversation, because I hate UNC.
I woke up to this.
People, whether it's for Michael Jordan, whether it's for their really cool powder blue color uniforms, people have just glommed onto UNC for years and years and years. And people on my Facebook feed all day just, go Tar Heels, go. Go Tar Heels, go. I can't stand it. I really can't stand it. Why is everyone in love with UNC?
What do you think the reason is that they are so
I think
in love
it's
with
Michael
them?
Jordan. I think they have really cool colors. I liked their colors when I was younger. I wanted my team to be that color. It was awesome. I liked it. I get it. But now that I've grown up and I'm not a child anymore, I don't root for the same team that I liked when I was 6 years old. I grow up and I like number one, I went to Temple. I love Temple. That's not to say I can't like St. Joe's. Understand, they're a rival. My dad went to St. Joe's. I'm allowed to root for them. I have ties. And if you have ties to other schools, you're allowed to root for them. But where you went to school should be your number one team.
Nikki's big on the ties. So I think what happens with North Carolina is along the lines of what you're saying, but it also has to do with their sustained excellence, right? Because people want to root for a winner. You notice all the young kids right now.
Why doesn't everyone love Duke?
Duke is a.
Why doesn't everyone love
because
Kansas?
Duke is the big villain, right? People love to hate Duke. That's the thing about Duke, because they always have Grayson Allen or Christian Laettner, or like they always have JJ Redick. They have
Greg Paulus.
They have Greg Paulus. Wow.
Sheldon Williams.
Yeah, the landlord, Sheldon Williams. Yeah. They always have these villainous guys who just so happen to be white, which is a whole other story. But
Jason Williams.
Yeah, but he wasn't. The big villains are Laettner, Redick, now
Trajan Langdon.
Wow. But that's why I think Duke has a very staunch following, but that's like a small pocket, whereas UNC is like everybody's darling, right? Everybody loves them.
I hate them.
And I think it has a lot to do with sustained excellence. Where I would put it is this: every little kid right now who's like 10 years old has a Steph Curry jersey on and they're a Warriors fan. Why? Because they're really good. And little kids want to glom on, to use your term, to the winners because they want to back a winner. Nobody wants to be a fan of the Sixers when they win 11 games, right? But if you're a little kid in Philly and Steph Curry's the man and the Warriors dominate, then they want a Warriors jersey. They want to be Warriors fans. That's how they got that fan base. And a lot of them have stuck through it because UNC always wins.
But just grow out of that. Kids, grow out of that.
So
there's a reason that the team is called the Philadelphia 76ers. There's the reason they're the Philadelphia Eagles. That's all.
We're actually going to have, and we've sort of teased this, but we're going to have a big fan tie show discussion coming up in a future show that you guys are really going to enjoy. I've got my thoughts on it, and I won't ruin them now. We know how you can clearly see how the Prophet feels about the cross-sectional fandom and not being tied.
People don't get it. I'm sorry.
Hometown.
You know, I come across, sometimes I don't express myself, and I don't come out and explain myself well enough. If I didn't, just text me because I will explain it to you, and I will go back and forth and argue with you on the territorial fandom.
Yeah. Well,
it's important to me.
That's all we got, guys. We're going to wrap this up for you today.
Please.
Nick's giving us the hook. Thanks again, everybody, for listening. I forgot to tell you at the beginning of the video, but I always do. Remember, all of the content will be timestamped in the description of the video, so you can check that out and go back and see a segment that you like. We're going to call that Nick's rant there at the end, so I'll specifically tag that one for you. But yeah, that's it, guys. Hey, listen, as always, for the Prophet, I'm Swags. We really appreciate you guys listening, clicking, subscribing. I was out yesterday at the Country Parade for pre-St. Patty's Day weekend. Everybody was clicking and subscribing. They were grabbing on the swag. Koozies flying. It was a big FTH celebration. So as always, again, appreciate it. If you liked the video, give us a like on YouTube. Give us a subscribe.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up, guys. That's it. For the Prof, I'm Swags. Peace.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
So keys and I had no cheat. rappers like me.